have a name for that onside kick you had yesterday? And can you just go through a little bit how long you've been working on that and what makes it so effective?
Yeah, we didn't really have like a specific name for it, but it is really the watermelon kick, where it's laying on the turf like a watermelon and you spin it like a watermelon would spin, but it spins a lot better than a watermelon. And we really started practicing it in training camp with Greg, and we just had Greg and Chris trying some different kicks, and we really just spent 30 minutes kind of just fiddling around, honestly, with different kicks. And when Greg hit that one time, we were kind of like, ooh, that might be a good one. And so we practiced it a couple more times. And the goal really was just to buy as much time as we could to get a couple bodies out in front of the ball and put a couple bodies behind the ball and really just box the ball in. And then we were prepared for if they went and attacked it, we had to attack them to try to get them to boot it and make it live. If they didn't attack it, we had to hover and pounce as soon as it crossed the white line. And it worked out pretty good.
Is that something you've done in the past? Did you do that with Johnny Hecker with the Rams last year?
We did. It's a great call. We did it to the right, and we did it. It's really a pretty similar kick. And if you remember last year, he hit it far enough, but a little bit too wide, so it was right in that coffin corner of crossing the 10-yard barrier and staying in bounds. And I think we came up with it. We were just barely out of bounds. Greg's was a little bit different in how he kicked it, and then also what we did with our 5 bodies to recover it. That was a big change of learning from last year's kick how we could change up the schematic of it with the 3 guys in front and two behind method.
Do you purposely kick it to your sideline so the other team's coaches aren't yelling at their guys as to what to do since it's so slow?
Very nice. I'm going to leave that one to the imagination if you don't mind. But that's that's a pretty good thought. You're on to me.
I'm sorry, John. I think that sometimes casual fans don't understand the limited amount of time you have on the field with your units. So how many times did you actually execute that kick in practice, and how much meeting time are you able to put towards a specific play like that?
Yeah, great call. I wish I could tell you we spent a ton of time on it. We spent a ton of time on the kick with just the specialist on their own, and we practiced it, twice on Saturday the past 3 weeks with the whole team. So really we've gotten 6, full reps at it with the full group, but Greg's probably hit it at least 50 times. And the funny thing is it's not funny, but you practice the kick, you hit the kick, you do it with the specialist, you do it on the Saturday, and I'm sure the guys think, oh, well, this is cool and it looks good, but it's never going to happen. And then sure enough, you got a game-winning situation, and okay, well, here it comes. We're actually going to do this. And then for it to work, it's really fun to see the guys' reaction to something like that when we're doing it in a real-life NFL regular season football game and it works. It adds a little more to maybe our Saturday morning practices, like, hey, these things can actually come up and win games for us.
John, what would have been the coaching point of what CJ was supposed to do there, and he clearly recovered? How closely did he run the play to what you would have wanted from him?
One more time, please.
What would have been the coaching point, or what did you want out of CJ on that play? And clearly he recovered it, but how well did he run it?
Oh, CJ Goodwin, yeah. I mean, you draw it up on paper and it looks good, and then what CJ did was better than I could have drawn up on a piece of paper. I mean, he was the behind the ball player, and he was just tracking it. I mean, he must have been inches from it, and he knows as soon as it crosses the front part of the white 45 big line that it's live and it's ours, and he pounced right when it crossed the line because they had number 17 and I think their tight end for Atlanta pounce at the same time. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever seen, how slow the ball went and then how fast those guys jump on that ball. I'm a huge fan of the NFL, so just having a great seat for that football game on the sideline, watching that happen as close as I was pretty phenomenal. But CJ executed it, I mean, perfect. It was perfect.
How many coaches did you hear from today regarding that kick across the league, or last night, today, that they saw it for the first time?
Quite a bit. And if I haven't responded to you, sorry. There's quite a few. So we moved on to Seattle pretty quick, but there's a lot of people that were interested in it. I'm not real interested in talking a lot about it because it's part of your call sheet, game plan, whatever you want. But I understand that it was a pretty phenomenal ending. Just from a fan standpoint, it was just such an amazing game to be a part of because it was so bad so early and finished so high. It was the true, agony of defeat and thrill of victory, kind of all wrapped in one possibility.
From where you were at the time, were you able to tell immediately that your guys recovered it, or how long did it take?
I got a little too close, and the ref was upset at me for getting in there. But it sure looked to me right away that we had it. But I did see that it was pretty close. We had to keep digging because under that pile, it can change hands and all that. So CJ had a pretty good look at it, but I know 17 was also touching it. And a couple of our guys just dug in there and tried to pull some arms of the opposing teams out of the pile. And that's kind of the goal of unpiling a loose ball. So somehow we came up with it, but it did look like we had majority possession, but we had to wrestle it to the finish, and he did it.
How do you and Mike go about settling on deciding to go on those fake punts?
We talk about it throughout the week that if we're in this field position, this down and distance, the score of the game, a lot of that has bearing on it. Sometimes it doesn't. You look at the matchups, and we felt really good about both of them, and I'm really glad we called them. It didn't work. I still feel 100% that it was the right call. I have no regrets. And I told our guys today, especially the second one, we pushed how far that can actually go. Usually it's a good 2 to 3, and you got to push for a couple more. And I told the special teams guys in the meeting today that, I still feel it was a good call. It didn't work. And if we would have punted the ball in that situation, we probably would have lost. Everything that happened in that game happened for a reason for us to win. And not getting it, or at least going for that fake, I'm just going to stay with it. If we would have punted it, we would have lost. Going for it, even though we didn't get it, helped us win. And if you ask me why I think that, I probably don't have a good answer for you, but we won.
How does Mike compare to Sean and some of the other coaches you've been around in terms of, having sort of that go-for-it mentality on it?
Yeah, I've been real lucky with Coach McCarthy, who didn't blink when we called it. Coach McVay, the same way, and really Coach Fisher, when I first got to St. Louis, was the same way. So it's just kind of part of the fabric of our punt team that, we're going to bang it. We got to punt, protect. We got to cover. We also have, some guys that can handle the football, whether it's the punter. I know he threw it a little bit low, but Chris can throw it. We've got 100% confidence in him that when we do it again, he'll execute it. And that's kind of just part of our identity. And I think that's a good thing because you want to have a group that's aggressive and kind of fearless. And, if something doesn't work, you just, shake it off and you move on to the next one. But that attack mindset, I think, is very healthy for a special teams unit. And also those guys know that they matter. It's not a transitional play. It's you guys matter during this, change from offense to defense or defense to offense.
What you just described there, it leads directly to my question, which is, do you feel that, this is a more macro question, but do you think overall around the league, over the history of this game even, that special teams is kind of an underexplored area or opportunity for creativity, for aggressiveness, for really making an opponent uncomfortable? We see a lot of that on defense and offense, that special teams can be more of that. Yeah,
you're asking me, so I'm going to give you exactly what I think. I think it's very underrated phase of the game where, there can be huge swings in momentum or in score of the game. But it takes a lot of courage to try to call some of these plays where, it's true boom or bust. There is no second down. It's always a change of possession play. So to have the guts to make some of those calls, you got to have them, and you got to live with the consequences, because it's definitely not going to be 100% in your favor. But I do think it's a phase of the game that still hasn't been totally tapped into, that can be a huge part of changing games. But living here in the current, I think it's a big part of changing mindset, at least for our guys, just to know that, we're going to go for it. We're going to go for it, and we got to get it. And if we don't, then we shake it off and we come back again. But, these guys matter on special teams. You're a part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, is there value now that you've done this? I mean, there's 3 examples of something that you guys did on special teams that represents, bold, creativity, all those things that we were just describing. That now you put that on tape for this year. I know you've done it before in your past, but it's on the tape for this year when people are preparing for the Cowboys. That is going to be practice time and meeting time that will be devoted to those plays, whether or not they were successful or not. Your opponents, starting with the Seahawks and those thereafter, are going to have to prepare for that same with their team. Is there value in just showing it early in the season and forcing your opponents to have to devote the time and resources to game plan for it?
Yeah, I think that's definitely maybe a byproduct of it. We did it because we wanted it to work at that moment, and we'll definitely reload it again. But when we do this too, we think, okay, let's say somebody does that to us. It forces us also to game plan for ourselves, if you will. Like, if somebody hits that ball to us on the onside kick, how do we handle it? If somebody throws a stop route to a gunner, how are we going to defend it? So it forces us to kind of answer those same questions that I think other teams have to do. But hopefully they know, playing the Cowboys, that Coach McCarthy is going to be bold and brave, and we're going to try to win the football game. And sometimes that means, emptying all the bullets out of the chamber, if you will. I hope I don't, say that in a bad fashion, but I think, you know what I mean. We'll come out of the game, and any opportunities we have going into it, we want to make sure we use every one, because the worst thing that could happen is, I told the guys today, just imagine if we lost and we didn't run one of those fake punts. We should have said, man, we should have run one of those fake punts, because maybe that would have changed the game. So at least we can say we had no regrets, and basically everything we went into that game with, we used. And whether it worked or not, we won the football game, but we used it all. We used it all. We used every player, we used every call, and we laid it out there. So I'm just so happy for the team.
You got a lot more in your bag that we haven't seen yet?
Oh, you know it. Yeah, and we're still learning too, about ourselves and some other things we can do. So, yeah, I guess that game we emptied it out, but we got a bullpen full of them that we can fill it back up with.
John, on the final field goal that Young Wei-Koo executed, and Cheeto was coming off your right side and laid out and nearly blocked it. But it looked like that may have been when he came up with that hamstring injury. We have not had an opportunity to talk to Cheeto since the game. Did you? Is that what happened on that play? Did you get a good look? I
did. I can't answer that if it was kind of sore before, or if kind of something happened on that play when he kind of got tugged. So I honestly can't answer that for you, because I'm not really sure if it was that play or a few plays before, and that was kind of the final straw. So I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
We have time for one more, guys.
John, how much fun was it to review the film from the onside kick today, and what was the most memorable moment from when you guys were looking at it and watched it on film with you?
What? I'm sorry. One more time.
How much fun was it to review the onside kick in film review today, and what were the guys saying when they were able to see themselves with you execute properly?
Yeah, it's always fun to watch the plays when they work. That's especially when it's such a critical moment and the guys execute. They like to see themselves doing that. We watched that one. We watched our missed fakes, but there's nothing that beat the memory of the live moment when that ball was spinning, and we're down by 2, and everything we practiced is happening at that moment, and it's for the win. And I'll always remember just being there on the sideline, just watching it happen in slow motion. Here it comes, pounce, and then there it goes. And it seems like forever, then it happens so fast, and that'll be a pretty good all-time memory. Hopefully we'll make more of them, but for right now, that was a good one.
Thank you.